I have this thing for movie production company logos where, oh, there's so many that I love just the look of, and defunct ones. I'm talking like VHS era ones, okay, and some iconic ones. But more recently, I see one and I think, what's the story there? That's exactly what I think, and I think, let's look. One that I really love the look of, Hollywood Pictures. So let's take a look. So to start off, what we're gonna have to do is go to 1970s Disney. All right. So 1970s Disney, a changing time. Okay. So before this, all the Disney movies were family friendly, fun for the whole family, children's. That was what was attached. That's what you knew going into a Disney movie, that it was a fun, cutesy children's situation, which, oh, I love so many of these movies. Oh, I'm talking the classic, of course, animated movies, getting into the 60s. Parent Trap, The Parent Trap, da-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na. Na 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 na. The Parent Trap. Annette Funicello singing the Parent Trap theme. Oh, Mary Poppins. Oh, that darn cat. Oh, the monkey's uncle. Uh-huh, she loves the monkey's uncle. Yeah, yeah. She loves the monkey's uncle. Whoa, whoa. She loves the monkey's uncle, and the monkey's uncle's ate for me. Oh, I don't care what the whole world thinks. She loves the monkey's uncle. Call us a couple of missing links. She loves the monkey's uncle. I live in a jungle gym in order to be with him. Mary Poppins is one of my favorite movies of all time. Feed the birds. Feed them. Feed the birds. Anyways, you get the gist, okay? The movies before the 1970s were very much so family friendly. Family friendly, to say that so many times. And that was always the case up until 1975 with the release of Escape to Witch Mountain, which was a bit more adult. It was still a family-friendly movie, but it was just a little bit more dark about it. And in 1979 came their first PG-rated movie, The Black Hole. And then in the following years, they experimented with the PG rating with like The Watcher in the Woods in 1980, which, okay, this one is a bit scary. Like a total, trauma movie probably for some kids growing up at the time, because it definitely stands out from other Disney movies in ghosty things happening, a scary old house the woods surround, a ghost girl with a bandage around her head, a bandana, a near drowning, just like a very sinister vibe to the whole movie, which I did watch as a child. My parents showed it to me, and it didn't like traumatize me or anything, but it was scary. But that was only just because I was shown Poltergeist and The Ring when I was very young, which, how the hell are you gonna do that? And then more PG-rated movies in 1981, Condor Man and Dragon Slayer. In 1982 came Night Crossing and Tron, which a lot of money went into. And guess what? We lost 27 million. We, being Disney, me being a person that works for Disney at the time, we've lost $27 million. We gotta do something about this. You see, the hope for Tron was to be like a Star Wars level situation, which absolutely did not happen. Although, I mean, of course, there's like a following now, but I guess at the time, it wasn't a big hit. And so that same year in 1982, Disney announced that they would be releasing more adult movies under a new brand, a new banner. Okay, that these movies were not successful because Disney, the name Disney, was attached to them. And people were just assuming it was like children's movies, which you don't blame them because, of course, that's all that they knew Disney to be. A quote from then Vice President of Production Tom Wilhite, stated, "We won't get into horror or exploitive sex, but using a non-Disney name will allow us wider latitude to look down at what I'm reading right here, in the maturity of the subject matter and the edge we can add to the humor." And that is a quote, so I wanted to get that right, okay? A loss of $33 million was registered by the Disney Film Division in 1983. The main contributors to that, we have the horror fantasy adaptation of Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes, which that one I know. I watched that one too, and that one is also, I would place that in a dark category for a Disney movie, and definitely probably scared some kids. Actually, absolutely. I recall spiders. I recall a bed full of spiders tickling the feet. The horror comedy The Devil and Max Devlin, starring Elliot Gould and Bill Cosby. I've never heard of this, but I'm very intrigued. I will say I am. And then Never Cry Wolf, which was PG rated but had some male nudity in it. Excuse me? That one actually didn't perform that bad because they had downplayed the association with Disney for that one specifically. So like, they knew that was the reason here. And then in 1984, then Disney CEO Ron W. Miller founded Touchstone Films, created as a label to release these more adult films. Disney Productions without the Disney name attached. Touchstone's first film, Splash, a huge hit. I'm talking $68 million gross. Down and Out in Beverly Hills in 1986 was another big success for Touchstone, and that was actually the first R-rated Disney movie. And then in 1987 came the first PG-13 rated Disney movie with Adventures in Babysitting. The movies were hitting, so the churn increased. The churn of butter increased in velocity to go like this, okay? A witch's brew of sort, and then they started pumping out movies. Ruthless People, Outrageous Fortune, Tin Men. With the release of Ruthless People, Touchstone Films was renamed Touchstone Pictures. That's right, Touchstone Pictures. That's the logo. That's the one. And by 1988, with Touchstone Pictures, Disney moved to the top of the box office. They won. Also in 1988, financial troubles were hitting other production companies, major production companies, studios. Okay, I'm talking MGM, United Artists. Okay, there was a struggle within them financially. And in the De Laurentiis Entertainment Group, where, of course, Dino De Laurentiis, that's what he was known for, putting so much money into really ambitious projects and not getting much of a return. The hits were few and far between, okay? But I love him for it, okay? He's given us so many absolute classics. We have Blue Velvet, thanks to Dino De Laurentiis. We also have $1 Million Mystery. So, because of less movies being produced in the industry at the time, Disney announced a new label, a new sub-label division, that being Hollywood Pictures. The goal was to double Disney's feature film output, and also with the goal to create some more work opportunities. The Hollywood Pictures label was founded on February 1st, 1989, by then Disney CEO Michael Eisner and then studio chief Jeffrey Katzenberg. Ricardo Mestres, who was working for Touchstone Pictures, moved on over and became the first president of Hollywood Pictures. And it was expected that they would be producing 12 films a year by 1991. The churn continued, starting with Arachnophobia in 1990. Their first run of movies in quick succession, Taking Care of Business, Run, The Marrying Man, One Good Cop. The first 6 years of Hollywood Pictures was filled with inexpensive comedies, because there was a fast churn, to say that once again. A lot of movies were coming out, and a lot of them, they weren't hitting. Holy Matrimony, Aspen Extreme, Super Mario Bros., which notoriously was a flop. I think that one they just distributed, though. Swing Kids, Blame It on the Bellboy, Born Yesterday, Guilty as Sin. I haven't heard of any of these. So they only ended up having one huge box office success, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle in 1992, and only one critical success, The Joy Luck Club in 1993. So because most of these movies were not hitting correctly, Ricardo Mestres, that first president, he was forced to resign. And in came Michael Linton, who was working for Disney Publishing Group. Okay, so like publications, like books. And next from Hollywood Pictures came Robert Redford's Quiz Show, which was definitely a critical success, okay, Oscar nominated. I watched this kind of recently and I really loved it. Based on a true story of this rigged game show, the Sarah Jessica Parker, Antonio Banderas drama Miami Rhapsody, and Dangerous Minds starring Michelle Pfeiffer. 3 years later, in 1997, Michael Linton left. He left to go to Penguin Publishing. So he came from books, he went back to books. Hollywood Pictures was not for him. But it seems Hollywood Pictures kept moving forward, and by 2001, they had produced over 80 films. And then it was during that time that everything kind of slowed on the Hollywood Pictures front. So Hollywood Pictures was dormant, done. The doors shuttered. But very interesting, after having its doors closed and being silent for 5 years, the brand was reactivated for specifically low-budget genre films. Just 3 horror films, Stay Alive in 2006, Primeval from 2007, and The Invisible, also in 2007. And that was it. That was the end of Hollywood Pictures. And going back to 2001, when everything initially slowed down for Hollywood Pictures, the big reason was, well, Disney. Disney Studios, they were looking in on themselves because in 2003 came Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Goddamn Black Pearl, and it was a huge hit. And it was we can make a big, huge budget franchise situation. Let's focus on that. And they still had Touchstone Pictures, which was still going strong, had a pretty constant output. And so Hollywood Pictures was just no longer necessary because the R-rated PG-13 movies that didn't belong with Disney could just be released through Touchstone. And so once the doors closed at Hollywood Pictures, Touchstone did remain, and they remained putting out a lot of movies. It was only up until from like 2007 to 2009 that things started to slow down for them. In 2009, Disney signed a deal with DreamWorks to distribute their movies through Touchstone. And then like from that point, they basically just distributed movies. Besides like some other, I mean, and not just solely DreamWorks Pictures, but just less overall. And then when the DreamWorks deal came to an end in 2016, Touchstone stopped. They stopped. With DreamWorks' 2016 drama, The Light Between Oceans, that was that. That was the very last Touchstone picture. The doors shuttered. Defunct. Gone. And that's where we're at, baby.